Welcome to Nollywood Movie Recap. So I saw this movie and just had to do a recap. Turning Tables is basically about a whole-faced man who meets a rich lady. This lady is of marriageable age and she has an inheritance to claim, but she needs to be married to do it. So she marries this guy who's just a poor raggedy tailor who tries to take advantage of her situation by being the gutter kid that he truly is. Some of the characters we have in the movie are Stunner, who is married to Stephanie. Stunner is a fine, sexy young man who revels in his sexiness. He can be seen repeatedly cheating on his wife, shouting at his staff to prove that he's the boss, and trying to cheat people out of their sweat. He was just a young poor tailor before he met Stephanie, who cleaned him up and married him. Stephanie is a rich lady who needed to find someone to marry her to gain access to her inheritance that she was just on the verge of losing. Quite overripe for marriage but unable to secure the ring, she decides to settle for Stunner. We also get to meet Rex and Kola, who are Stunner's closest friends. The movie opens up to Stunner being a real stunner with two hot chicks. He's making out with the girls. Meanwhile, we get to meet his wife Stephanie, waking up in her own bed and realizing that her husband is not right beside her. She's kind of upset by this, but she eventually goes to sleep. She wakes up to find him in the bed, and she's like, what the hell?
Yes, babe. Don't worry, I'll be with you in a short while. All right.
There's a scene that reveals some resentment that Stunner has against his wife, Stephanie. He comes down from this staircase, picks a call that says, I'm coming to you right away, sees Stephanie and just ignores her. Stephanie expresses her worry to her friend about how she thinks she's losing her husband to cheating. Her friend tries to encourage her and says marriages are quite tough and different, but Stephanie is not having any of that.
Every marriage is unique in its own way. Marriages have their different fingerprints. And trust me, I think you should talk to Stunner. As the saying goes, communication is key.
Among Stunner's friends, Rex encourages his bad behavior, while Kola is kind of the voice of reason.
He's getting out of hand, you need to be careful.
He tells him to be considerate about his wife's feelings, that he should be careful so Stephanie doesn't find out. Stunner says if she likes, she should find out, that it will be very bad for her if she finds out because it's a lot to take having to deal with a wife whose body is like a 3-bedroom flat. He calls her an old cargo and insults her. In the next scene, Stunner comes back from work super late. He ignores Stephanie and tries to walk by. Stephanie jumps up in front to confront him. There's some shouting going on, a lot of shouting actually. Stephanie gives it to him, like what the hell is wrong with you? He's giving some really stupid answers as to why he came back late, saying he went to work his butt off for her. She flares up. She gets so angry, saying he's trying to gaslight her into being an always angry lady. Stunner says that's the problem with Stephanie. Always flaring up. She finds a way to always nag him. Stephanie gets physical and shoves Stunner a little bit.
You've been drinking alcohol, right?
That's not the point!
That is exactly the point!
We see Stunner in his office finally doing some work. Then this babe comes in for some fittings. And this babe, no cap, she's so hot. She's so fine, slim, tall, has a nice butt and hips. Face was given, and obviously, Stunner was being himself. My man is like, stand up for a bit if you don't mind. And then she's twirling and she's just giving brown sugar body banging, too sweet. Next thing, Stunner is going to this babe's house to pick her up for some model fashion show. In front of her house, the babe is like, what happened to the cabman I called? Stunner is like, I paid him off already. And straight away, I don't think they even went for the event. They just landed on the bed and started kissing. The kissing that ensued, it was intense. Immediately at dawn, the girl plays a reverse psychology with Stunner. She asks him, why are you cheating? Is this how marriage is? Is marriage all about cheating?
I've been meaning to ask,
What's up?
why do you feel comfortable doing this under your wife's nose? Do you respect the sanctity of marriage at all?
We get to see Stephanie come home with her friend from shopping. She invites her into her bedroom to try on the outfits. When they get to the room, Stunner's clothes are scattered all over the bed and floor. Stephanie tries to move the clothes, and the worst thing happens. A condom slips to the floor. Oh my God, I swear it was so wild. Stephanie was so embarrassed as her friend was also a witness to this. She vents to her friend that she does not know what Stunner wants from her, and she knows that she signed up to be with the guy who didn't love her, but she did not sign up for someone who will go about cheating on her. Her friend tells her not to beat herself up, encourages her to fight for herself, fight for her name, and fight for all her things. She has to stand up for herself because men will stain your white. Stephanie really starts to fight for herself. Her personality kind of changes in the house. She starts to smoke cigarettes and starts to shout at Stunner.
If it's a bloody Sunday morning, where are you going? Agbaya!
One day, she wakes up to trail Stunner to work. She pulls up at Stunner's office, barges into the office where she sees Stunner and his friends. She demands for them to dismiss themselves immediately without even saying hi to them. She hammers at Stunner about the business. They both get into a heated exchange about how Stunner has been running the business and how she thinks he's been bringing several girls in. Stunner says, I don't blame you.
You know what? I don't blame you. It is your father, your mother, dare you!
Ooh, I never saw that coming. I mean, we knew Stephanie was a little heavy-handed, but we did not expect this. This slap was mean, it was intentional, and it was well landed. Stunner is left dumbfounded. Stunner comes home the next day and says he wants a divorce.
We are not making any headway in this marriage.
And
I want a divorce.
Stephanie is like, What do you mean? You think you can just stand up and want a divorce?
Stunner, you actually think you can wake up one morning and demand for a divorce?
Lol, just the play. He insults her, calls her an old cargo. Stephanie drags him by his shirt and threatens to destroy him. She promises him that when she's done with him, he'll regret the day he met her. Stunner then brags, hey, who do you think you are? You think I'm one of those your small boyfriends? I am Stunner and I run this town. On the other hand, we see Stunner's side piece complaining to her friend about her relationship with Stunner. Her friend encourages her not to worry, that Stunner really loves her. He worships her and he's the perfect man for her. Stunner and Stephanie go to a divorce lawyer. The lawyer asks why they want to be divorced. Stunner says it's because they have gotten to a point of irreconcilable differences. Stunner informs his friends that he's getting a divorce and they can't believe it. He informs Ronke, his side chick, and she's very excited but stays super calm. Stephanie gets depressed and starts to reminisce how she met Stunner. She remembers how she met him on the road when her car broke down. He was just walking by when she asked him for help. He agreed, and with just a little touch to the car, it started working. She was so grateful and offered him a ride, and that's how they began their relationship. Next thing, she's informing him about her inheritance, but she can't gain access to it because her dad really wanted her to get married, so he put a clause on his will. Stunner was open to the proposal of marrying her so that she can have access to her wealth. Stephanie promised to invest in him, set him up with a clothing line because of his love for fashion, and anything he wanted he could have. Stephanie says she can't wait anymore. She would like to be divorced immediately. They go ahead and sign papers. Stunner informs Stephanie that now that the divorce is final, she would have to move out of the house because she had changed the title on the file to his name as the owner. Stephanie reveals that what he has are fake documents that she created to protect herself in a situation like this. Stephanie retrieves the Benz, she closes the clothing line, and takes her house back. Meanwhile, Ronke, Stunner's girlfriend, is pregnant for Stunner, and her friend applauds her for being smart and being pregnant for a big fish. Stunner is starting to feel the embarrassment of not owning property. His friends mock him. He starts apologizing to Stephanie, but she won't have any of it. Ronke comes to the realization that she's pregnant for a nobody. She never expected it. Stunner is thrown out of Stephanie's house, and we can see Stephanie and her friend crying while he leaves the house. And that is the end. If you enjoyed this movie recap, follow us for more movie-related content.